Awesome. So welcome to another episode of Scales Sales. Super honored to be joined by Laurie from Veracode. Just sort of give you the floor if you can give us a slight introduction to yourself, but also sort of what your company's doing and what you guys are up to.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me, Oliver. Super excited to participate in your podcast series. So I'm Laurie Haley. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Technical Alliances at Veracode, and I also manage our go-to-market enablement function here at Veracode. So I'll tell you a little bit about Veracode really quick, and then maybe I'll give you guys a quick overview on my background. So my company, we are a company that offers application security services to our clients. We've been in business for about 17 years. We have scanned over 138 trillion lines of code and fixed over 84 million security flaws during our time in existence, which is pretty impressive. We're a 10-time leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We have a lot of accolades behind us. We're really one of the OGs in our space, and if not, one of the founding companies in this space, which is really impressive, and it's a really great place to be. Our platform of services really answers customers' challenges across securing the entire SDLC, building developer security competencies. We protect the software supply chain, manage your web attack surfaces, and in securing cloud development. So those are, the challenges that holistically our portfolio of services looks to help our end users, get accomplished. And, we're here to our mission is to help our customers protect the data that's out there and the software that's out there running the world. So it's quite an exciting company. We've just released some new services and things that are quite revolutionary and have really changed the direction of our portfolio and our platform. So it's a really exciting time here. And then as for myself, I've been in IT. It's going to be 26 years this year. Half of my time I was kind of a hands-on technologist and engineer. I have actually run a vulnerability program. I was a Veracode client at one point in time. I worked a long time in this space, the second half of my career in security and cyber. I worked for Qualys, and now I've been here. So I've kind of done a little bit of both. I've been hands-on, I've been an engineer, I've been in security, I've been a buyer. Then I get into sales and customer success. And so I've supported customers and gone through the buying process on both sides of the table. So I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades, and I take a big role and a big responsibility upon myself to promote women in our industry. And I work a lot with the EWF, the Executive Women's Forum, on IT, cybersecurity, risk, and governance. And Veracode is a big sponsor for that as well. And so I look to mentor and bring women and young people of all, backgrounds and whatnot into our business as well. And as a recruiter, I'm sure we're greatly lacking in talented pools of candidates to come and work for us and to work for our clients. So
yeah, for sure, especially women as well. It's, like the best, I said it to you when we first spoke, this is going to get a lot of potential hate or people disagreeing, but the best salespeople are women. Everyone that I've placed who's been a woman has absolutely crushed it, and I've never had someone drop out or be fired in the first 3 months or in our rebate period. So hat off to what you're doing as well. I know when we spoke, also obviously doing that, but obviously you're a family person. You've got your kids as well, which I know keep you very busy. So amazing stuff. And again, Veracode as a company doing some awesome stuff, and hence why we obviously reached out to you and wanted to get your perspective on things. With regards to Veracode and what would be good for the listeners to understand, how do you sort of communicate the sort of unique value proposition to potential clients?
So the way that we work to communicate how we can bring value with our clients is we strive to sit down with each and every one of our clients and really understand where they are today and help them to understand where they're trying to get to and align our services to what their challenges are and help them figure out what their perfect world looks like and how we can get them there. And I feel like that's kind of like a sales 101 kind of answer. But I think what I'm really trying to get at is we're building here at Veracode, and we've always been this way, but we're very much highlighting that more than ever here as a culture within our go-to-market organization, a very customer-centric attitude. We're here to be the technical business partner that our customers want to do business with. When we think about innovation and roadmap and where our portfolio of services is going, we're thinking not what's the next big thing that Veracode can do? We're thinking, what's the next big challenge that our customers are facing? And how can Veracode put something in play that's going to work with our platform that's going to solve those challenges and get ahead of it for our customers? So customer centric is a big term we use here, and we're constantly thinking of how we can be that partner for our customers. And so that's really how we try to get in and align with our customers' needs.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's the best way of also going about selling is that we do it in recruitment. It's if you're going in and just ramming something down someone's throat, going, yeah, you should buy this, for having no understanding of actually what the issue is, then you're going to struggle, especially if you can personalize, which it seems like you guys are doing, is sort of actually going like, look, we're going to sort these issues. And actually, if we don't already sort them, we will work to actually get them sorted as well.
Yeah, for sure. My journey into sales, I think this is kind of a good spot for me to kind of bring this up, is interesting because I don't really have a formal sales background. I don't have a lot of sales training. I have a lot of sales books, and I've done a lot of self-learning, and I've worked with some amazing sales leaders, men, women, both amazing mentors. But how I got into sales was I was a client of the vendor I went to work for. I was running a program that was using the service that I went to work for. And how I became successful at sales was not reading sales books, was not tactics and things like that. It truly was about how I was able to bring my hands-on experience and my ability to listen and guide customers to get to what their good looks like and align what my offering could do for them to help get them there and be able to provide that guidance. So yeah, not going and saying, here's what I've got for you, but here's what you've got. How can I help you? And so that was really a very core tenet of my time at Qualys. And that's very much how the culture and the way our go-to-market works here at Veracode too. And it's a really important way that I feel we differentiate ourselves from our competitors.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really refreshing approach, and it definitely is something that we try to implement in the way that we do business. And it definitely gets a more receptive response from clients. It's not so much shutting you down. I mean, obviously, we have the podcast where we're trying to help people. If you honestly are genuinely trying to help someone better their in situation, you're going to get better results from it at the end of the day.
As a salesperson, I am going to say that once you do have that mastered, all of these different methodologies and all these things are amazing to help you organize and scale your ability to provide that type of service to clients. So those are things I do recommend too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Definitely not leaving those out of the picture. But when you combine that kind of customer-centric approach with a solid, repeatable methodology to scale your go-to-market organization, it's like a total recipe for success.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. So definitely any listeners listening, definitely pick up a book, have a read. It's something that I don't do enough, and my founder is on my case like mad. So he's all I get given is weekly is like, read this book, read this. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get there eventually.
I like to read all the books and pick out the best stubs. I'm a kind of a student of all. There's not one specific method or framework that I love more than another. Some are kind of top in my list, but you pick up winning tactics from all these different tried and true methods that are out there. So,
do you have a favorite book?
I mean, I never leave home without my Medic book. I'm a big fan of Medic. For me, my background is operations and engineering. Even in my sales part of my career, where that's more of a finesse, it's more of a conversation to keep myself and my clients organized. A sales deal is a lot about time. And I'm not only spending my time, but I'm taking time from my customer when I'm doing sales. My sales teams are taking our customers' time. It's important to stay organized and stay focused on the metrics and the details that are going to be important to a customer to help them make a decision on if we're the right fit when they're comparing us to competitors, like helping them have the right discovery items in their list of metrics for whether or not a certain solution is going to work best for them, things like that. And so, a framework like MEDDIC that helps organize the way you think about a deal is a really good one. We're a big force management believers over here at Veracode. Spin selling, gap selling, they all have different ways of looking at things. At the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to kind of the way people interact when you read through some of these things. And I'm a big studier of people, so that's kind
Yeah.
of
We had this conversation this week in the office that actually being able to, the best salespeople are people that can actually that can read people. If you can read someone's emotions and you can mirror it, or you can bring someone up. The conversation basically was that one of our reps did a call and it just was so boring. And he's my best mate and I love him. He's a great salesperson, but it was just so boring. And I just went, what was the candidate like on the other end? Oh, yeah, he was quite down. I said, did you not think like, maybe if you inject a bit of energy, like read the situation, pick him up. Like we were actually asking the candidate to hold off for another 2 weeks before we could get him an offer when he's already sitting on like 2 offers. So like this call was important. This call should be like, okay, I'm going to make this seem the most amazing scenario ever and really sell the opportunity. But actually the call was not that. It was, I'm going to match his energy, which it shouldn't have been. So actually being able to like read people, super important, and it's something that we're working on with our staff and just sort of communicating and sort of like understanding it. Like I'd say I'm quite a good judge of character, but I like everyone. That's my biggest issue. I'll be friends with anyone, like quite happily, just
right.
And I remember when I was first
the
starting.
downside in sales.
Yeah, it definitely does, especially when I started in sales, and I was like, I said sorry all the time, and I was like trying to make everyone my friend because that's how I've known how to do things in life. And don't get me wrong, it got me so far. But then I also got walked on top of a lot because they knew that they could get away with it. And then I found my grumpy side, and my manager at the time, very direct communicator. And I then started to learn from him of actually, okay, cool. Have your two sides, have this nice side. And then when they tried to cross the line, you put them back in their place of where they need to be. But
I feel like I'm kind of the team coach type of perspective. So I'm going to be the one in a room that maybe everyone has some ideas, but I'll usually be the one who's be like, oh, let me get all this going together if no one else is going to. I'm always happy to be part of the team, but if no one else will raise their hand, I'll definitely be a team lead. And in a sales deal, when you're dealing with people influencing parties on the other side, the business owner, things like that, sometimes you need to have someone who's going to say, all right, everybody's interests, organize where we're going with this, like keep everyone on track like that. I think another really important attribute of a good salesperson is someone who doesn't talk all that much. People find it funny when I give that answer, but one of the reasons that I, with very little experience and training, took off really well in this part of my career journey is because I ask a lot of questions and I solicit a lot of information. And once you are in that kind of trusted relationship with a customer and you are truly there to understand what their needs are and get them sharing that information with you, that's where you can really help them. And that's where a sale starts to happen,
Yeah, for sure. I literally, prior to this recording, I've just got off a call with a client that was meant to be a deal. It looked very straightforward. It was like everything was fine. And then out of nowhere, the CEO, there were 6 stages to the interview, and he interviewed on the 4th. So they did 2 more after him, and then comes back and the CEO goes, oh yeah, my feedback's negative. We're not going to hire him. And I was like, but the guy's just done 2 more. But actually, if I looked at the scenario and actually sat back down and self-evaluated, I didn't chase the CEO feedback because I thought, oh, the process is moving along lovely. But actually, the person who is the money, the decider, the most important in the scenario was the one I didn't get any feedback from.
Right.
And it's a sense of, I slipped up, I didn't ask enough questions, and the best salespeople are the ones who ask the most amount of questions, and ask the high risk questions, asking those questions you don't
Right.
want the answer to. That's the biggest thing I ever took from when I was young in recruitment.
Yeah, completely agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. What I'd love to delve into, and obviously being a recruiter, topic close to my heart, is a little bit about sort of how you approach recruitment, talent acquisition to make sure you've got the right team in place.
Yeah, so I mean, our company, I'll talk a little bit maybe about both, maybe about my perspective on that, and then our company's perspective on that. So for me personally, I look a lot at culture and personality fit when it comes to seeking people that are going to be on my team. I'm always looking for people that are A players. I want people that are more A players than I am. I always want to hire people that are smarter than me. I like to surround myself with people that get stuff done, and I know I'm going to be able to lean on and find ways to accomplish big tasks and have confidence in what I've got going on around me. Building teams like sales execs and things like that, looking for the kind of people that have an idea of their career path. And I look for people that I'm going to be able to help influence and grow them as professionals. Those are important things to me. Here at Veracode, I'd say like a lot of those things are true here as well. We do value our culture very much. We look for people with the interest and passion in what we do here. So, everyone here is very much a passionate person when it comes to cyber and tech. Everything we do here is viewed with the utmost importance. So we have this overall feeling of a mission we all carry here in every role that we do. We take what we do here very seriously. We're, like I said, very customer centric. So everyone we hire is brought in with the understanding that they're going to have a responsibility to do their job 100% because we're here for our customers. So we look for technical aptitude and that type of commitment, and people that want to grow professionally and build with us and grow with our company.
Yeah. No, I think that's super important. And actually, it's funny. I was recording another podcast earlier, and one of the managers I was speaking with, he said that he was told by one of his early on managers, hire on character, skills are trainable. And it is super important. If you are hiring someone that is potentially a bad egg or someone who doesn't fit into the culture, they will ruin that team in the space of a month. Someone will befriend that person. Then suddenly they're communicating in a certain way. It just has such a bad impact. And I don't care, like in our team, I don't care how good a salesperson is. If they're going to come in and cause a massive disruption to the rest of the team, then I'm probably not going to hire them. They could come in and make me hundreds of thousands of pounds, but they're just going to cause way too much impact. They'll probably make the company will probably go bankrupt. You can't rely on one person at the end of the day. But it's
I've built a lot of teams of individual contributors being in the sales side of the house. And one of the things I'm really proud of is always with those teams, I've created this culture of like a team, even though everyone was compensated as an IC. It really didn't matter if Joe got on the phone with Mike to help him out with a deal because Joe wasn't going to get paid on it. But that was the type of culture that I endorsed in what we built. And my individual contributors did so much better on those teams because of those kind of people coming together and that kind of culture. Those individuals made the team stronger and everyone did better as an individual. And that speaks a lot to like hiring the right kind of people and how much better that can be for everyone.
Definitely. And I always look at it in the sense of so I play cricket, that's my sport, but I always use with the podcast, we say like it's very similar to baseball. So you've obviously got your batters, they're all individual contributors, they're all going to try and hit their home run or whatever it be. Got the pitches by himself, no one else is doing it for him, but they all have the same goal at the end of it. They all work together to the same picture of winning. And if you can instill that within a team of having that culture of, and that should come down to the hiring as well. You should hire as you've done, you should hire it as if you're hiring a team of like a baseball team. Everybody has their strengths, but then everyone else will have their weaknesses as well. So hire people that counteract that person's weakness and strength. And that's a recurring thing that people have said on the podcast so far, that that's how the most successful teams they've had, and that's what they've done.
100%. Yeah, my most successful team I had, and this was a while back, was exactly that. Everyone complimented each other so much. If I was going to be out, I never gave it a second thought. That team would run like clockwork because they just had each other. It just ran like a well-oiled machine because of the personalities and the way that just everything integrated with everyone that was on that team.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, you've got this team in place, doing great. Are there any strategies or initiatives that you sort of brought in for self-development, or basically just getting that success within the team?
So I've most recently, since I've been here, really taken on a team of people. I've been mainly working with teams during my time here at Veracode. So here, I'm just getting started with my team of people. So we're going to be doing, that professional development here. So speaking from, how I've done things in the past, which is, what I'll work to do here. And, Veracode is a very, very amazing chief people officer. We have a really in-depth annual performance review process with the one-on-ones and, really, really puts employees first here. That's how the culture is here, which is really awesome. I hadn't had so much of that in the past, and I did a lot of that on my own and really tried to focus on that one-on-one interaction, constantly talking about career pathing, sort of the next 12 months, the 5-year plans, always checking in with my team members to find out what was working, what wasn't, in what ways I could mentor. I do a lot of mentoring outside of just even the people that report to me as well, especially with the EWF group and then other, women here at Veracode, trying to, help take what I've learned through my career journey and share that to, if I could help someone else get where they want to go based on things I've done wrong, things I've done well, lessons I've learned. I try to do that as well. So, I try to put a little bit of a formula around it and keep a strong cadence on having those regular conversations.
Yeah, for sure. Staying in contact with people. And I think this sort of leads on quite nicely to my next question, and sort of about what would you say sort of key characteristics, or how do you identify basically future leaders, or future leaders within your team?
I feel like the people that have really knocked it out of the park for me, and they know who they are. I got one up in Canada. I've got one here with me over at Veracode. And there's a few more floating around out there. I'm sure they'll watch this. Those folks in those two particular cases as well came in as account managers with me and moved up with me at Qualis years ago. In both of those cases, they are always the people that are kind of like I am. If they're in a room and there's a group of 6 people and there's something that needs to be done, they'd be the person that raises their hand and says, all right, team, like someone needs to kind of organize how we're going to approach this. Like, let me grab that whiteboard marker and get that going. It's the people that exhibit that just natural, like, all right, let me help get this organized for everyone. It's those people that just like the above and beyond, going that extra mile. I've noticed that my most successful leaders have usually been, much like myself, very self-educating, always kind of continually learning on their own, motivated to push the bar on their own. They're coming to me at their professional development meetings with things already to add to their plan. It's never me having to coax that out of them. It's those just naturally self-motivated sort of personalities that tend to rise to the top for leadership.
Yeah, for sure. Just going looking for work, seeing what else they can help, and it's having that mentality. And it's a conversation that we have all the time with whether it's an account manager or an AE or whatever it be. Why do you want to be a leader? Like, why do you want the hassle, the politics, potentially earn less money than someone beneath you? I don't like to say beneath. I like to, obviously they're on par. You work for your team, etc.
Yeah.
But it is a fun topic, and to hear people's answers as well, and then for me to sit there going like, no.
Yeah.
You,
The other thing I've noticed, especially like, well, I'll use my 2 example leaders there from my past. They were always to the person that would be like, oh, hey, you've got that problem. I'll jump on that call with you and help out. They're the people that wanted to help the other person sitting next to them too. And that's the kind, like, you just said it, you're right there. Like, I work for my team. Like, I've never looked at leadership as like a managing down the tree. I've always looked at it like whoever works for me is what makes me successful. So I don't know, if I have to come to your house and take out the trash because that's going to help you make your number, well, that's what I'm going to do. Because, like, if you're not doing good, then I'm not doing good. I'm not doing my job. So I've always looked at myself as an employee of my employees, if you will, in some regards. And it's been those people that I've seen, like, jump to someone else's rescue or always be there to, like, share a tactic that they've used for themselves to everyone else on the team to make their lives easier. Those people, those characteristics, those people make really great leaders.
Yeah, and from my experience, they're the best leaders to work for sure. I'm really fortunate that our founder of Scale Genesis constantly is thinking of, like, how can I make their day easier? How can I make your hours shorter? Like, we were having a call earlier, and it was about how can we automate this, or how can we still keep the personal touch of this? Like, his end goal, and like you talk to him, and it's funny. He goes, "I want your day to be 6 hours long, but I want you to earn the same amount of money."
I like
Like,
this guy. You got any openings?
yeah.
Don't
Well,
tell
I
don't tell
know
my
if we,
CEO that.
yeah,
Or Andre, my boss.
yeah, she's only kidding. It's fine. But maybe we do have a job. We'll talk later. But it's honestly it is the nicest thing ever. Like, my previous role, corporate background, and it just was very, very serious. It was just like, we want you to work as hard as we can. We don't care if you burn out, sort of thing. And I did burn out. And that was in my first 2 years of working, which is standard. I mean, I knew that to get to where I needed to be early on, that I had to put in the hours and work to be needed, but not to be micromanaged and had all the other bits that came with it. But it is nice when you find a leader that is just, they work for you and they think for you. Actually, there's a funny story, and it only happened about 3 weeks ago. Our founder, out of nowhere, just goes, "Right, so I'm going to be the SDR for the company." I went, "You're what?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be the SDR. We don't have one, but I think if I do that, I can automate and I can drive all the leads to you guys. You can do what you're good at, Ollie, which is talking, and I don't really want to talk to anyone. I'll just send everyone your way." Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know many companies where the founder's going to go, "I'm going to be the SDR and do all the legwork to get all the leads," but it is nice.
We have a lot of that in our culture. A lot of doesn't matter where you sit, everyone rolls up their sleeves, and we're a very hardworking culture, but we're also a very, like, good at work-life balance culture. At least we strive towards it. You know, I know my boss, Andre, he's new to the company, Andre Cunin, and he's our CRO, and he just took a vacation recently, and he was like, "I'm going to be unplugged." And, like, I encourage you guys to do that too. And, like, that's a hard example for me to set. I have a hard time unplugging on vacations because I like to work. I what I do for work is really fun. Like, I love this. So it's hard for me to say, even though I love it, it is something I need to step away from occasionally. And the way he characterized it when he was talking to our teams about it was, I have time to reflect, think of new ideas, refresh my mind around what we're doing here. He's like, I'm not thinking about work. I'm just taking that time away from it. And I was like, oh, that's a really good point to think about it that way. And so I struggle to set that example for my teams, but it's important to make sure your teams are supported in that way and keeps people working harder when you are making sure that they have time with their families, they're taking their vacations, and they work harder when they are working, and you get a better product out of people. Make sure you do that.
It really is. And I said this actually earlier on the previous recording, that basically when I was in my first 2 years, didn't take any holiday, was burnt out, and it was very stupid of me, to be honest. And then took a first holiday. My manager went to me, delete WhatsApp, delete your emails, just completely wipe yourself of anything that's going to be a stimuli towards work. Went away. Obviously, I thought about work. I have this issue with the fear of loss, of the, if I'm away, then I'm going to lose a deal, or something's going to go wrong, or whatever. But I came back after a week away in Marrakesh. I did 11 deals in those 2 months of being back, which was like completely broke records. And I was like, oh, okay, so rest is good. And rest results with performing better. But yeah, it was a hard lesson learned. And yeah, not that I've been any better since, but like at least it worked once.
It's a hard one for people that just love to work. So I get
Yeah,
on.
yeah, exactly. What I'd love to understand is obviously you've had an amazing career so far. Is there any key experiences within there that sort of shaped your style as a leader?
I don't know if there's anything like specific like along the way. I mean, I come from as a young woman, I played a lot of sports. So I'm, volleyball, tennis. I come from like a team sports mentality. As an athlete, I've already got that kind of like built in motivation and drive and that like kind of puts me right in the queue for doing this as a career, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the salespeople I know are athletes. A lot of the successful ones were former athletes, right? And so being on a team sport, I think, and I was captain of the on those teams, sort of shaped how I am as a leader from a younger age. And to be honest with you, from some of my very first jobs as a young woman back in my 20s, I would start a job and get into kind of a leadership position. I just am that person that stays, gets things done, helps everybody else out. It just has always been in the stars for me to kind of take roles that have put me in a leadership position. And I think the genuine satisfaction I get and the just true appreciation I have for the honor of being able to put some influence on someone else's professional journey and help them achieve and help them become successful. The pride I have in some of the folks that have worked with me and for me who have gone on to achieve some amazing things. My guy in Canada, he's a CRO now. I hired him out of a practitioner's role. He's so amazing. Some of the things that these folks have achieved, I just like am so proud to be part of that. I love doing this for work. So I love technology. I love, what my company here does today that I'm with. And then as far as like what I do, I love being a part of strategic leadership. I love being a part of people leadership. It just the passion.
No, for sure. I think that's a really good answer to the question. And I think also that's exactly why I wanted to get in leadership. I was in two minds because I also can be a really selfish seller. And it's something that I had to learn actually, especially when I took this role, that I couldn't just focus all my time and attention into my business. And it's part of also being an individual contributor while also managing a team that I'm like, I'd rather be doing this. This makes me direct money. But actually, if I look at it from the other side of what I actually enjoy doing, I've coached disability cricket teams, disability football teams, children's football teams, whatever it be. And that's when I see most of my satisfaction in my life, or when I feel good about myself. I was having this conversation earlier. It didn't matter. They got to a stage in my previous role that I was earning more and more money, and the satisfaction just wasn't there. I just wasn't. It didn't. It didn't climb. It didn't get any. It didn't get any better. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with earning lots of money, but
Sure. Yeah.
but there was something else that I was searching for, and actually being able to help and see other people grow. And as you said, like taking someone from a practitioner to a CRO, basically, and helping being a massive impact on that person's journey
Yeah.
is awesome. To be able to like there was someone I was talking to the other day, and they were like, yeah, when someone asks me about my career, I never tell them about my career. I always tell them about the other people's careers that I've helped. And I was like, that's cool. Like, that's cool that you can actually just have enough to talk about as well about other people's careers.
Yeah. Yeah. I could spend probably an entire day talking about like all the successful people and their achievements that have worked with and around me over the past few years and not even talk about myself. And by no means do I take entire credit for any of these folks. I've been, and I won't even say lucky because it's not luck. I have sought out and I gratefully have found some of the smartest, most awesome people to have come and worked for me and just happened to come and work for me for whatever karmic reason and just done whatever I could to support their skyrocketing success. So it's been kind of awesome.
Yeah, no, it sounds it. And so obviously, being a leader isn't all amazingness, if that's even a word. Is there any specific challenges that you faced along the way that you can think of, and sort of how you overcame them?
Sure. I mean, when you ask that question in regards to, a leadership position, it really it brings to mind kind of two things that I feel are areas, topics in leadership that maybe most people getting into leadership or most leaders would probably think of. So one is, having to deliver difficult news and feedback to your employees. That's one area. And then the other area for me personally is the trust area. Even with these amazing teams I've built, for my personality type, which is kind of like part of why I'm a leader, is like I'm that take charge, like get things done, like very A-type personality. I also sometimes have a hard time letting go and delegating. And that's been something that I've had to learn and practice over the years, right? Like be able to say, I've gotten this team, I've gotten these people to the place where they know what they're doing. I've got to give them the reins. I've got to let them do things the way they need to do them. Give direction and trust their unique style to accomplish tasks, So that's a tough one for me. And that's that's a me thing. For delivering information that you don't always want to have to deliver, that tough feedback. I view that a lot through the eyes of like Laurie as a mom. So you mentioned my family. I 4 kids, 23, 17, 10, and 8. My 17-year-old's in the cybersecurity program, Cisco Net Academy. I always give them a shout out when I'm on anything that's going to be posted anywhere, because it's an amazing program, and it's part of our VOTEC program here in Warwick, Rhode Island. So my 17-year-old following in mommy's footsteps.
Good work.
And so what's my job with them? It is to make sure that they grow up into really decent people. And as much as we have pretty awesome relationships, I have a different relationship with each of those kids. I'm not always there to be their friend. Sometimes I have to be really mean, because that's my job. My job is to teach them how to make the right choices, do the right things, do the hard things, do the things they don't want to do, because that's what's going to solidify the fabric of like the person they're going to become when they're older. I view the people that work with and for me, who I'm in charge of leading, in a similar fashion. If I'm not going to deliver the harder feedback to them, then what good am I? How am I creating for them the fabric of their professional persona that's going to be worth anything to them in the future? If they need to hear that they have to up their game here or correct this issue, and that's going to make them a better professional, then I got to be damn ready to provide that kind of feedback, because that's my job as their leader. So for people that are uncomfortable with doing that, if you can reframe it in your mind that way, giving that feedback doesn't feel as negative. It really does feel like your responsibility. And so I've kind of trained myself on that in a way, like made it where it's, yes, it might not be something the person wants to hear, but I really am doing this because it's my job. It's my duty to have someone hear what they need to hear, because it will make them better. And I deliver it that way too, because I do pride myself, we talked about this already, as very much a team member, a teammate. I'm never on the throne. Occasionally, maybe I get some, I'll be called the queen once in a while. But very infrequently, I really do view myself as a teammate, and I have a very friendly rapport with everyone who's ever worked for me. But I pride myself on the fact that I can go to anyone that I've worked with and say, listen, we got to talk about something serious, and we can always walk away with it still with a friendly rapport. That is a hard thing for a leader to do, and not many people do it very well. So that's one that, like, if you can pull that off, you're a good leader.
Definitely. And it always comes back to the same thing of just being able to communication. You've got to be able to communicate that in the right way. And obviously you go about in the right way in the sense of you already have that rapport with those individuals. It's so important to have that rapport with a team. You understand them as a person and how they like to be communicated to. I think every person is different. I love recognition. I love praise. I could probably live off praise rather than money, to be perfectly honest. But I know that. And I always, whenever I've got a new manager, I always let them know. I'm just like, recognition goes a long way with me. Just let me know that you've seen what I've done or appreciated it. But I now work for a founder that does not give praise. Like he's a very. I'm used to him. I lived with him at uni, so I know when he says
Yeah,
something nice. Oh my god! Like you're getting the biggest compliment that anybody can
yeah,
receive.
yeah,
So, bit different, but
yeah.
yeah, it is super important, and this also comes back to, but like when we're trying to figure out for someone, are you ready to be a VP of sales, or should you be a VP of anything or a leader of anything? It's can you deliver? Do you think you could see yourself in a situation where you have to fire someone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I had to do that for the first time in December. It was horrible. I don't want anyone to ever go through that. Like it's not nice, and but you have to do it because you're doing it for the best of the company, but also probably the best for them as well.
Yeah, and
And
and that's an element to thinking about what makes a good leader too, and is someone ready to be a leader? Is what is their mindset? Uh, it your job suddenly becomes bigger than just you and your team. You have to start thinking about your greater responsibility to the company you're going to be a leader for, because there will be decisions that may have to be made where you have to take yourself out of, Oliver's job as director or VP, or Oliver's job as running so and so group, just these 5 people. And you have to think about, well, Scale Genesis has to make this decision. This is what's best for the company. And you have to set everything aside. And that can be difficult. And then managing the change management that follows with that, and being able to support whatever is the fallout from that. Those are all parts of being a good leader that you have to be prepared for. And I've promoted people in the past who have wanted this type of role, but then later have said, I just, that stuff doesn't make me happy. I wasn't as mentally prepared or emotionally prepared for those aspects of this role. And it just doesn't do it for me.
so for the last topic of the podcast, just wanted to sort of delve into my favorite topic and probably yours as well, a bit about work-life balance. So, I mean, obviously, being a top leader and being in sales is challenging in itself. Is there any advice or anything that you sort of encompassed in your life to help with work-life balance?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that what any one person needs to do. So, we talked about my kids, we talked about my job. Obviously, I do a lot here at work. I got 4 kids. I do work from home quite a bit. I go into the office when I can. I have an office local to me now, which is great after many years of having one on the West Coast. Uh, but mostly I'm at home. I established a very specific office space for myself. I'm a fitness enthusiast. That's kind of where we'll put that. It's something I love to do. So for me, that's kind of my hobby. So I built myself over some time a gym in my house so that I'm able to every day take time for myself and do something that is focused on my me time, be able to do my hobby. I really definitely, and that's not just work life balance. It's kind of like work life family balance, because as a single mom, you need like me time away from your family too, because that's a whole other job. So I think it's kind of an important call out. We always say work life balance, but I really feel like it's work life family, or work me family balance, or work you family balance. We got to come up with a new term for that, because
Yeah.
like life outside of work, you need balance outside of that too. Like you need to take care of yourself as a person if you're going to excel at work. You're going to excel at home as a mom and a friend and a partner and all of those things, right? And as a professional. So you got to take care of yourself, and you have to make time. You have to take that vacation time from work. You should be strategic about when you give yourself breaks. Do not go 9 months without a vacation. I just recently did that, and I was sick for like 6 weeks. I got sick and like stayed sick because I had let myself get a little bit too run down.
Mm.
I just worked myself right into the ground, and that was a me choice. Certainly not my company. It really was. It was a me choice, just running endlessly. And so it's important to take your vacation time, take time for yourself on a regular basis, keep yourself in good shape, and whatever it is that makes you happy. One of our C-levels here, he likes to make music. He makes sure he takes time to do that on a daily basis. There's another girl I know, she does dirt bike racing and things. Like we have a very wide variety of crazy, like you could do like 2 truths and a lie here and you'd be so surprised at the answer. We have so many crazy hobbies at Veracode, but do those things. It is very, very important. And then I do little things for myself, just even, I'm a big car gal. I bought myself a sports car, about a year ago, just driving that for a little bit, a couple of times a week, just things to cut yourself off from your responsibilities and refresh your brain a little bit. And then during the day as well, get up, walk away from your desk. Oh, my other big tip is always put shoes on when you work. That's what I always tell people. They're like, I'm going to work from home. What's your biggest tip? Put shoes on before you work.
Yeah, no,
serious.
no, definitely. I mean, I've got shoes on sat at my desk from home. It does make a difference. It does make you, but I'm really bad, to be fair. I really should take my shoes off more. I always get like, especially when I work from home, suddenly I'll just say the couch is right there, right in front of me. So it's like, we'll just sliver over that way once I've finished. But I'm like, yeah, unfortunately, I don't have an office yet in our flat. So
I have a faux office. This is actually my master bedroom, and I've made myself like just my little space because I have so many kids.
You do have quite a few kids.
I gotta sell some more Veracode so I can upgrade, get an office. We ran out of bedrooms a while ago, but I always have my flip flops on at a minimum. I gotta have my shoes on to work.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then for the last question, my favorite question: if Laurie nowadays could give one piece of advice to 25-year-old Laurie, what would you give yourself?
I'd give myself the most valuable piece of advisement that I got from my former CEO during my time at Qualys. That was from Philippe Courteau. And he spent a lot of time with me teaching me to take a beat, take a breath, step back from what feels like an emergent situation and take a moment to strategize. Nothing is that on fire that you can't take a minute to really think through the scenarios that you could follow to solve the challenge. And I've always been extremely, passionate and excited about what I do. And I will get a little, hot under the collar if, a deal was in jeopardy or if something happened that was not to my liking, whatever. And when I was younger in my sales career, back in the, 2010 timeframe, I suppose, is like when I started getting into this, 2012, that was his biggest feedback for me. He would be like, slow down. We got to take a step back. We got to look at things holistically. And I wish that I had been a little bit more patient and done a little bit more of that throughout my career, because I've really done that now, not just in my professional life, but I've taken that tactic and I do it in my personal life now as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I've been told numerous times, and I'm one of those people that you give me a task, I'll run. There's no thought process behind it. It works really well for me a lot of the time, but there are times, and it's just like earlier, and I actually took this advice and used it, was that I had bad news about a deal. I was halfway through typing a message of like, I'm just gonna give my opinion quite quickly, and then my manager had already messaged me like, don't do what you do. Give me 10 minutes. We'll sit down. We'll go through it. We'll figure out like a smart way of approaching this. And I was like, good idea, because what I put was not even close to what we ended up putting in the end. But it is because like in the end, what I was gonna put probably would have annoyed the person on the other end quite quickly. But actually what we've ended up doing was we've turned it around. Potentially it could get turned around on Monday, or I've got the role still to work and we've got more interviews booked in now. So it's a lesson learned. Yeah. And it is super advice.
A tactic for you is write your email, just put it in drafts. Don't put anyone's name in the to line. Sometimes I do that with Amazon shopping too. I put it in the basket, but I give it 24 hours.
I do that all the time with clothes. I did it yesterday. I put something like 300 pounds worth of clothes in a basket, and I went. So then I then messaged my girlfriend and I went, should I get this? And she went, do you need them? And I went, probably not, but I want them. But she's like, yeah, but like, are you gonna wear them? And I was like, probably not. Like a few of them were like knitted jumpers, or like a knitted, like it's quite a nice jumper. But she was like, it's summer, Ollie, and I was like, yeah, but it's nice. And so went back and forth. Ended up I haven't bought any of it, so I'm glad I didn't. But
Right.
Yeah, it is.
So that's definitely what I would tell myself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and so much insightful knowledge, and can't wait to really post this. I think it will help lots of people with their journey through leadership, already in leadership, or whatever it be.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.